real quick. So I moved to London, more civilized. It's a great. It was more like America. We were getting movies before the movies came here, music before the music came here. So I felt like I was on the cutting edge. Tell all my friends that visit, loved it. But after 3 years in Sheffield, moving to London, I was wiser, not wearing an American badge so proudly. Like, I would honestly, when I was in London, because it was just a melting pot of so many people and so much going on, I would honestly walk through London and I wouldn't talk. I was afraid to be an American because I realized everybody does not like us. You know, a lot of people, especially on that side of the world, they didn't, at the time, they didn't like us. So I would keep to myself, learning as much as I can about where I was before I went there. Had my friends came over. At this time, I remember waking up and watching the news, and that's when September 11th happened. And feeling that it wasn't real, you know, and it was really weird because I didn't understand. I really didn't understand the history. I didn't pay enough attention to what was going on. But at the time, I lived in Notting Hill, and I had a bunch of my friends were Muslim. But I couldn't put two and I couldn't get it. I didn't get it. I know at the time I was very sad. I was very sad. I didn't understand what was going on. And when I went to their house, trying to, looking for a place to speak, looking for a friendly voice, I went there and they were excited. And I didn't get it. They were celebrating. What the? I didn't understand what was going on. Like, why are you celebrating? And then they explained the reason why they were, what they saw, the injustices of their country. So being over there, I learned a lot. I definitely learned that America is not, I won't say, well, in my eyes, we weren't as big and bad, as bold as I thought we were when I first went over there. I felt that being a black American over there was a little tougher. It was tougher, especially in England, where it just was dominated by the soccer culture. It was very difficult because we're not as prevalent in soccer there as like sports here. And we weren't, and I wasn't treated as well as I thought I would be being an American. It was almost, by the time I was done, I was ashamed to be an American. I was ashamed because the people there they actually looked down on, in the beginning they looked down on me because of my arrogance and my ignorance. By the end, it was a little better. And then after I left there briefly, I went to Spain, which was pretty funny. And for those Spanish teachers and professors, they would love this. In college, my Spanish teacher would say to me all the time, Terrell, you need to study, you need to study, you need to study. And I told her, listen, I will study, but I'm really good at reading and I'm really good at counting. And the jobs that I'll have, I'll probably be doing that more than Spanish. 6 years later, I'm in Spain. They dropped me off, same thing, now it's in Spanish. Here's your keys, here's your address. Practice starts at this time, all right? So I get there, and the joke they played on me is when I got there, and no, they would tell you this, all right, let me back, they would tell you when you went, they would always tell you where not to go. So when you get off the plane, don't go in these areas because of this. And to rewind, when I went to England, they told me don't go in this area. But being a Black American, I have to get my hair cut. So normally I have to go into those areas to get my hair cut. So I go to get my hair cut, and this just shows you how small the world is. I go to get my hair cut. I sit down, and most of the African Americans, I guess, or Black Americans, they come from the islands over there, so a lot of Caribbeans. So I go there and they're talking. They're like, "Oh, Meyer, you're the new guy." I'm like, "Yeah." So they go to cut my hair and they pull out these battery-operated clippers. And as you see now, if you look online, I have braids. That's the reason why, because they pull out these battery-operated clippers, and I'm like, "No way, are you cutting my hair?" So I talked to the guy. He goes, "Myers?" I said, "Yeah." He was like, "Do you know Eric Myers?" I said, "Yeah." He was like, "Oh, that's my buddy. I used to cut his hair in Connecticut." The guy that was going to cut my hair grew up in the same neighborhood as my cousin.
Oh my goodness.
And he really helped me because he told everyone in the barbershop, if you saw Terrell, make sure he's okay. You know, so I had a bunch of guys looking out for me, and that just showed me how small the world was. I go to Spain, quick story, I tell the guy, I go there and I go into practice, and then if you American sports, it's kind of, you know, you're gonna do this, I need you to do this, I need you to do this. I went there. We had, I was playing defense on a guy, and the guy, young guy, just, I think he was 16. Sergi just went baseline and dunked the ball, just boom. And I'm looking around like, where's my help? Like, and the coach just blasted me in Spanish. Like, I don't know what you're saying. So he's just blasting, and I'm thinking, okay, where's this coming from? Like, I don't understand. So I go in the locker room and they go, well, that's just, I mean, you need to learn. I'm like, well, how am I supposed to learn? Like, nobody, just need to learn. No classes? Like, what do you mean I need to learn? I don't know what to tell you. So, and they spoke English. So I asked the guys, okay, that's over. I need to get something to eat, right? What should I, where should I go? So they said, go to the market. And for 2 months, they were asking me to ask for a certain part of the chicken. And I was saying it wrong. So for 2 months, instead of me studying, trying to learn, I would just ask them. And every day, they would send me to the store saying something wrong so they could laugh. And it was like the same thing, being ignorant. Where I should go, they had free Spanish classes I could have learned. But they didn't. I didn't go. And the worst part of it was, and I just think being American in general, there were times when the money, like our money, would be late. And like the coach could speak English or the general manager could speak English, but when it was time to get paid, no hablo inglés. What do you mean? But all of a sudden they forgot that they spoke English. But in general, I feel like it was a good experience. I definitely learned a lot. I learned a lot about different cultures. I didn't only spend time in England. I probably visited 90% of the European countries. And the thing you learn is if you're over there long enough, you can kind of relate or kind of navigate through wherever you are if you're there long enough by, I guess, hand gestures. A lot of the languages kind of use the same, especially like hola, hello. I think it's really not hard to navigate once you're over there and you get comfortable. But it was definitely a difficult experience. For the students here, I know they have a tough time adjusting with the food and missing things that they normally have at home. So if there's anybody, sometimes you see the European students or Asian students walking around. I think just a hello, how are you, goes a long way. It goes a long way. So whenever I see anyone, I always say, how are you? Because I've been there. I've been there, and I told you, Joseph, earlier, it was one day in April in England that I just sat in my room and I just cried. I just cried. I don't know why, and it started as small as this. It was when I woke up in the morning, it was bright and sunny. 6 o'clock, it was bright and sunny. By 10 o'clock, it was raining. By 11 o'clock, it was getting dark. By 1 o'clock, it was snowing, and I just broke down. I wanted to go home. I just had enough. I had enough of trying to fit in. Had enough of trying to figure out, navigate through a new place. Had enough missing home. I just think it's a very difficult situation. So if you see any students that you know that are not from here and it's not their home, I think it's very important to just say hello. Thank you. Have any questions? Feel free.